So, well, let me introduce myself. My name's Don Berkey, and I'm here tonight. I've been, I've come and done some programs here at Brookside before, and very pleased to be here with you again tonight to hopefully share a couple of thoughts on the key of teaching some responsibility and academic success where the parents can fit in with that. And there's some key words in there, and I'm going to really stress responsibility and success. But I've already checked, and I'll ask, I've got an 8th grader, and I've got 6, 8, and 10. Do any of you have children right now? Oh, yes?
They're not grade school.
They're not quite grade school. And how about in the back there? What grades are you guys in? In the grade. Okay, very good. Okay, and? 7th grade, very good. Okay. Mr. Smith? Not at this time. No, you have a group. There you go. Okay, very good. So what I'd like to do is just as a brief introduction, tell you a little bit about and see if I can get, oh, good. All right. I'm actually technically good. I think I fall into those 4 categories there at the top. I was a teacher. I was a middle school guidance counselor, public education for over 37 years. Been doing this parent education stuff for probably 20. And I am a parent from 35 and a 31-year-old. So if you want to ask how that goes, don't be afraid to ask me. All right, so it's okay. Please, I'm going to beg of you, ask me anything. Make this as informal and as fun as possible. And so we're not stiff or anything. I'm going to do the best we can. I'm going to try as best I can to make this fun and interesting and really try to apply any little pieces of theory to something that's very practical, something that you can maybe take out of here. And in the next 59 minutes, as I think I mentioned, if there's one piece of information that you can take away from this that might be useful to you, then we've all done what we've wanted to do today. So I guess just kind of the fun to start with, how did you get here tonight? Anybody? How'd you get here? Go ahead, just talk. No, how did you physically get here? Did you drive? Okay, did you come by yourself? Okay, how'd you get here?
My son dropped me off and then he met me after work.
Awesome. So your son was driving, okay, because you love your son and you trust him, right? You got in the car, right? Did you offer any suggestions on how he would be able to get you here safely and without incident?
Yeah, I did tell him to buckle his seatbelt.
Okay, so you offered some, but it was out of caring and love. Absolutely, wasn't it, right? Okay. And was he successful at getting you here?
Yes.
Okay, without incident. You had success? Did you get here successfully without incident? Okay. How many ever years ago would you have been as successful, do you think? I mean, when you first got behind the wheel, were you immediately successful with that? No. Were there loving, caring people that were offering suggestions to you as best they could? Of course there was, okay? So when you think about that, think about, I'm just going to keep that piece in mind. Back up a little farther. Did you teach your child how to ride a bike? Okay. Think back to that time when you taught your child how to ride a bike. Did you just say, get on the bike? Did you say, get on the bike? No. Okay. All right. Were they successful the first time they got on the bike? Did they just get on and go? When they fell off the bike, did you yell and scream at them and say, how come you don't, and didn't anybody teach you how to ride that bike? Oh my gosh, when you came home, I expect you to be able to ride a bike. How come those people that were teaching you bike riding, they didn't do a very good job? So now I've got to, you didn't do that, did you? No. Did we have training wheels? Okay. Who suggested taking the training wheels off? The child. How interesting. Was it your idea? No, it was the child. Keep all that in mind over the next 50 minutes and see if any of that can apply to what we're going to talk about tonight. So, I've thrown some cards in front of you. Please, I'd like you to try, and I've also got a few articles that, and again, this is very informal. If you want to read something, I just ask you don't nod off or anything like that. But here's what I'd like you to do. Take the white card, if you don't mind. Take the white card. And I'm going to ask you to write down 4 things on the white card. Write down the word homework. Write down the word grades. Write down the word sports or extracurricular activities, band, art, concerts, anything like that. That's fine. You know, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever it is. Chores. And then parent-child relationship. I'll go through them again, don't worry. Okay. Homework, grades, extracurricular activities, chores, parent-child relationship. There's an article about that. While I'm babbling up here, rank them, put a number next to them, how you would rank them in importance with any kind of interaction that you would have with anybody, and probably especially your child. Also, just as a little thing, there's some articles, and I will let you take a look at them. If you're, like I said, if you're nodding off or anything like that, feel free to take a look. These are from what's something called the Insiders Club, which is part of Love and Logic, which is part of what I'm here with, and we'll talk about that near the end as to how you can be part of that. So, as we go here, let's take a look. Think about these questions. You'll be hearing me asking lots of questions of you as we go, because I want to have you interacting with me as we go. So again, how would you go? Would you have a diploma? Do you have a college degree? Do you have a master's? How many of you are currently employed outside of the home? And the staff, are you currently employed outside of the home? Yes? Yes? No? Yes? Okay, good. And for me, this is probably the most significant one. Do you work in a different field now than what you were trained to do? No. Yes or no? No? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. How about, can I ask the teachers here, are you currently doing what you initially were trained to do? Is that where your job is? Yes, yes, yes. No. I knew the answer was coming no from there.
Not really.
Not really, okay. Because when I first started, if you go back to teacher, when I first started, I was trained to be a classroom teacher, but I did make the choice to move into the guidance area. So just kind of think about that too. Okay, here we go. So go back to where we were with the title. Oh, how many, I want to make sure, did everybody get a handout? Did everybody get a handout? If you didn't get one, make sure Mr. Smith will take care of that. So let's start with the word responsibility. And I like breaking it down to response, able. Are you able to give a response? If you are able to respond, then you are responsible. I don't think it's anything more difficult than that. The internal commitment to completing a task. Completing a task. You've already done it. Did you write down on the card? You completed it. Are you responsible enough, and did you meet with some success? So let's go, what's the education? Again, I'm going to make this kind of simple. The acquisition of knowledge. Education is just the acquisition of knowledge, and hopefully you become a lifelong learner. Wouldn't we always hope, wouldn't we want that for our kids? My 31-year-old, my 35-year-old, I think they're still learning. I hope they are. And if I can step away and say, yes, are you still learning? Are things still going well for you? Are you learning something new? Then I believe that they have become responsible. They are successful. I don't know if they'll remember how to conjugate a verb. I honestly don't know anymore. But if they can do those things, then can we measure this? The thing called academic success. If you would, at your leisure, as we're talking, as we're sharing, take the colored card, give me your definition of what you would consider academic success. Does it have to do with passing grades, straight A's, meeting your goals, graduation, or is there something different? If you would walk away from your child, and I say that defines success. Again, look back at the title of what we started with 10 minutes ago. It says teaching responsibility for success. So if we can do the responsible part and we can do the success part, I think we're pretty good to go. So just for sake of and like I said, I've told you it's going to be a lot of open-ended questions. So ask yourself, what would be academic success for my child? And put it on a card, set it aside, don't share with anybody. You can turn it over if you want, that whole bit. Okay, here we go. Okay. I love this line, and I just kind of threw it in as part of the presentation here. If you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. So if your child walks into that classroom or walks into, or wants to get on the bike, if they're not willing to learn how to ride the bike, you're not going to help them. And on the flip side, if you are or your child is determined to learn, no one can stop them. I'm going to learn how to ride the bike. I'm going to learn how to drive the car. And no matter what you do, or how you teach me, or how much you yell or scream or walk away or whatever you do, then nothing's going to deter me because I want to do this. I was a driver's ed teacher, as crazy as that sounds. One of my very first jobs was driver's ed teacher. And just as a quick sidebar, I had a classroom of 70 kids in an auditorium with no textbook, no curriculum. Did they have something that I was going to give? Did they want something from me? What do you think it was? Just answer me. What do you think it was? The driver's license. They wanted me to sign off that says, yep, you passed the class and you can go take your test. Did they want some? Were they determined to get that? Yes. Did I have them? Yep. So I said, how did you control 70 kids? I had something they wanted. All right. So again, I like this. If they're determined to learn something, they're going to learn it. No matter who presents it to them. Okay. So let's take a look at how do we view possibly some options. How do we view education? First word I like, and we're going to come back to these words in a little bit. Entitlement. There's one way to look at it. I'm entitled to an education. I'm here. You're supposed to give it to me. To be given the right to demand or receive, a definition of entitlement. The belief that the world owes me something. If your child, you owe me this, I'm in your classroom, it's your job to give me this. Do it. The absence of appreciation. That's entitlement. On the other side, how about endowment? To provide with some talent, quality, to be given to get. I'm blessed, I'm fortunate. Isn't it great that I'm here with you, Teach? This is awesome. Hey, I'm really here with you, Mom and Dad. This is great. Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity to learn something. Quick story. I like my teenage girl, something goes on. I don't know if you've experienced, and again, I've got a couple of parents here. How many of you experienced where a child has said, you know what, I've got schoolwork to do, but I really want to go on, fill in the blank, go on a ski trip. I'm going to go to the wrestling match. I've got a tournament. I'm going to go on a trip. My friends have asked me to go. I promise you I will get my work done. I'm just going to ask, has that ever happened? Do you want to share? That's okay. You want to share? Did it happen? Do you want to share? What happened?
All the time.
Okay.
They talk into something, then they don't follow through.
Okay. So when they came back on Monday morning and the Spanish wasn't done and the calculus wasn't done, what did you do?
Said, you have to face this.
Too bad, so how sad for you? You'll hear a couple of love and logic terms, and one of them is, oh, how sad. a lot of times we'll get parents, and none of you, of course, a lot of times we'll get parents who will just say, oh, I'll call the teacher and say that you were out of town and we'll make sure and cover. I'll call the teacher and make sure, or, oh, you're not feeling very well today, are you? We'll make sure. I love the fact, and I will endorse the fact, send them to school, and I think you used the word consequence, right? And what's our R word of the night?
Responsible.
You're responsible for this. You're responsible for your choices, okay? Same thing, and the endowment thing, I tell a little story about safety patrol. I have a friend of mine who used to run safety patrol, the kids that do the changing of the guard and all that kind of stuff, and hey, you did a really good job, we're going to give you a cookie. Hey, you did a really good job, we're going to give you a medal. Hey, we give you a good job, really good job, you got a t-shirt. It got to the point where they just expected that. Do you think they kept doing a good job of being a safety patrol because they were just in it for the t-shirt? Do you think they kept doing it because they just said, I'm going to get a t-shirt out of this? They've lost it because it went from endowment, I was blessed to do it, to entitlement. So let's go a little farther now. And I can equate this to a classroom, I can equate this to sports, I can equate it to any kind of area. I'm able to learn only if I have a teacher that I like. I like that teacher, so I'm going to learn from that one. Endowed means I'm able to learn even if I don't have a teacher that I like. I'm going to learn however it takes. Okay. So now, how is education viewed? And we said entitlement. Oh, I'm sorry, I went the wrong way. There we go. Okay. So now we're back to academic success. I'm not asking you yet. You've defined it right on your colored card. Here's some ideas. Being the middle school guy, thank you very much, I often wondered why the parent of the 7th grader, the 8th grader, the 6th grader was so hung up on, oh my gosh, you got a B- on your science test in 5th grade. Okay. The last I checked, 5th grade science classes are not going to keep you out of Ohio University. So let's just relax a little bit and work with that. The K to 8 right now, for me and for anything that I do, it's experimental. Let's get used to what it's like to be a student. Let's get used to find out what it's like to be responsible for getting things done in a timely fashion, gaining some knowledge, and having some success. I think we're referring to, and I've kind of highlighted, affordable mistakes. What is it that I can do and still be okay with? A term I often use is don't chase after the school bus. In my years in the public setting, I couldn't tell you how many parents walked in, oh, my son forgot his, what? What's yours forget? Homework, oh, how sad. Lunchbox, what? Lunchbox. How about trombone? Okay, right, okay.
Shoes, wrestling.
Oh, I forgot my wrestling shoes. Oh, everybody together? Oh, what? How sad, okay. Is that, let's take each one. I forgot my lunch. When will it probably hit me that I forgot my lunch? Lunchtime, okay. Will my stomach growl? Yes. Will I be hungry? Yes. Will I try to figure out ways to get around it? Yes. If my parent comes and bails me out, will I learn anything from that? No. Might I be creative? Might I be able to trade my wrestling shoes for a bologna sandwich? Well, I might do that, okay. But I'm being resourceful and I'm thinking about that. How about the wrestling shoes? What will happen at wrestling practice, Coach?
Maybe something extra for them.
Okay. Or it's going to be tough for them to wrestle barefoot. And it's going to be a little tough. Do you think they might remember it tomorrow? But what's the R word again? It's their what? Responsibility, okay. Let's go to the homework. But Mom, how many do you get a phone call? Text. Oh, a text. Oh, how sweet. So personal texts are, aren't they? Yes. Oh, I forgot my homework. How do you respond? Oh, you say, oh, no, a little bit of empathy. We got to do no empathy? We're going to work on that a little bit. Okay, we'll go, oh, it's fun. Oh, how sad. Okay, I know you're smiling. I know that's a little sad. Okay, all right. Oh, how sad. Let me know how that goes for you. Have you ever sent that text back? Let me know how it goes for you.
Well, you'll face the consequences.
Oh, how sad. Okay? And that's the thing that we try real hard not to judge it. We try real hard not to be punitive. See, I told you. Oh, let me know how that goes for you. Love you. Have a nice day. Beautiful. Okay? Love it. Okay, let's do that. Awesome. Okay? That's an affordable mistake. How about driving the bike onto 611 with the training wheels? Affordable mistake? No. We don't let them do that. Okay? How about taking the car? We talked about it earlier tonight. Taking the car and where it says do not enter and you decide to go in there. That's probably not an affordable mistake. Is forgetting today's bologna sandwich, is that an affordable mistake? Absolutely. How about the permission slip? One more thing that came to my mind. How about the permission slip for the field trip? Oh, how sad. You think they'll forget it the next time? Probably not. So this is one of the love and logic principles that we work on, but listening and working with and trying to be a part of how can I be supportive of my child with empathy, with caring and love, but let them make the affordable mistakes and see where it goes. So, as we've talked a little bit, if I want to be successful, come to the policies. Do you have a policy? I guess I'll ask, just briefly, just say yes or no. Do we have a grade policy at home? Not yet. Do we have any kind of grade policy?
No.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
No D's or F's.
No, okay, so D's or F's are not acceptable.
As long as you're trying your hardest.
As long as you're trying your hardest, okay.
If you're trying your hardest, and D's or F's are the best that you can.
Okay.
I thought I said C's are better.
Okay, so we at least have a baseline, and everybody's agreed to it, it's established. Okay, any others from our parents in the room? No? You can just, we're doing nonverbals here. It's okay. All right, very good. Okay, so the key piece is, as long as I, the student, know that my parents are being supportive of what I'm doing, they're there for the asking, they're there for consulting. I love it when my 31-year-old comes to me and says, what do you think? Like, crap, okay. He's actually asking for some advice from me. And I move through those stages. So one of the things that we're going to talk about, another program coming up, but we're going to try to avoid any kind of power struggles. Grades and power struggles are going to be a little tough to mesh. Okay, so I've lived through this, what's called academic suicide, and I'm going to kind of step back just a little bit. And it's interesting that sometimes kids will do this. Kids will absolutely sabotage work. I don't know if you've experienced that, and again, we don't have a big group here, but I don't know if your child has ever purposely destroyed something. Now, I'm just not going to do this so that I can dig my heels in. Can I ask any of my parents in the room, have they done that, where they purposely said, I don't care, do what you want to me, I'm in control of this, and I'm going to absolutely not do my work? What are you kind of thinking here? Okay. I know kids that have done this, and maybe you have too, where, okay. Anything you want to share on that? I mean, we're real informal here tonight, but and I like the second line, if I learn, if I'm successful, that's what the parents want. That's what my parents want. That's what the teachers want. And so I want to do the exact opposite of what they want so that I can stay in control. This is a kind of a dangerous spot. We got to keep an eye out for that. So the other piece, and I'm just as willing to admit, and it's happened in my life with my own children, sometimes you set the expectations too high. And we've got to be careful with that. And where do we put the goals? Where do we put, is the goal too high? You've got to get straight A's or fill in the blank. And I'm not hearing that, but I know that sometimes that gets set up there. The fear, I'm so paralyzed that I'm going to fail that I absolutely shut down. I can't do anything. And that's where we I use it, it's academic, so the word suicide is maybe a little harsh, but it gets the idea across. Please, 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 as we say 1,000 times, and I know, hi all you out there in the cameras, I'll take a minute and wave to all of you over there, that we need to love our child and have it not connected in any way, shape, or form to the grades that they earn. It's two very, very, very separate things. I love you no matter what you do. I've got unconditional love and care for you. And to keep that relationship intact is very important. I've had kids too, as a quick sidebar, if I really try and I don't do so well and I fail, now I'm a failure. So it's easier to not try at all, and then I've got a reason why I failed. And you can apply that to any place you want. And I guess I'll go back to the silly bike thing. I'll go back to the driving thing. I know people that won't get behind the wheel. I know 21-year-olds that don't have driver's licenses. I am afraid I'm going to fail at this. So can you fill in the blank? So I won't, what? I won't try. I won't try at all. Okay, and I'm getting some of the teachers in the room going, yeah, I get this. If I don't try, somebody said, why are you failing math? I didn't do the work. I've got to build an excuse now. Because if I try and I don't succeed, then I'm stupid. And think about how that plays with them. So just some thoughts on that. Okay. I like taking this. This is a little program that I kind of come up with. I call it the director program. And again, it sounds like something maybe you folks have been trying, and if not, maybe a suggestion, something you could try. Let them, and we talked about back to the beginning, who's responsible? Say it out loud. It's okay. Who's responsible? Who's responsible for academic success? Who? The student. Okay, so let's try that again. Thank you for joining me. Okay, we're good. There we go. Smile. Who's responsible for academic success? The student. Okay. So if whatever you're responsible for, you got here. You were responsible for that. All right? Shouldn't you be in charge of that in a lot of ways? Sure. In a lot of ways, yeah. So make them the director of the program. Hey, Jack, we're going to try something this quarter. And I know we're here at Parent Conference Day and things like that. Let's try something this quarter. We're going to let you be the director of the program. Pick and notice, even though it's down here at the bottom, pick their strength. Don't pick the class that they're not doing well in. Pick their strength. Let's say it's tiddlywinks, so I'm not picking on any subjects, okay? You're really good at tiddlywinks. You're in charge of tiddlywinks for this next quarter. Sound good, Jack? Jack, what do you think? Yes or no? Sound good? Oh, what do you think Jack's going to say? Yeah, I can do this. I don't need you. Okay, I'm good at this, okay? So now, and Jack, if it doesn't go well, what do you think is going to happen? Let's decide what's going to happen. Are we going to lose our, is there going to be a consequence? Are we going to maybe have less, video time? Am I not going to the football game? What's the consequence? Okay, Jack, we all agree with that? Yes? Jack, what do you think? You can be my Jacks. Jack, you agree? You're in charge. Whatever your success is in tiddlywinks is up to you. We've got to get at least a C or better. We agree on that? Jack, we good? If we don't get to C, Or do you want a little higher? What do you think? Jack, what do you think? A B. Yeah, this thing I think I'm good at. Oh, okay, the thing I'm good at. You want a B?
B.
A B. An 87? 93? What do you think? Come on, Jack. Help me.
Well, 87's a high B.
Hey, okay, so 87 good? Is that okay for you, Jack? Cool. Great. 87, you're in charge. I'll never ask you about tiddlywinks this whole quarter. Deal?
Yeah.
You like that? Cool. What happens if you get an 86, though? Okay. All right. Will we applaud and everything if you got an 88? Sound good? Cool. Allow the child to succeed or fail. Let them go. Cool. It's good. All right, let them go. If the child fails to reach the goal, who becomes the director? The parent does. If the child's successful, who gets to say to the director? The child. Does that make sense? I'm going to stop right now. Does that make sense? So we try that, and again, we try it with a strength. This is something, who's in charge now? Who's in charge of this? You can say it out loud, folks, because I'm getting tired of talking. Talk to me. Who's in charge? The student. Do you think they like being in charge? Yeah. Yeah.
So are there consequences, and then if they succeed or fail, the director, or is whether they're the director or not the consequence?
Sure. Can the consequences be positive?
Okay.
See, somebody actually stopped me and asked me a question. Thank you. You're allowed to do that, okay? Please do that. Can I have positive consequences? How many think as soon as you hear the word consequences, you think it's negative? Be honest. Okay, I got one honest hand in the back. Thank you very much. Can consequences be positive? Yes. The Good Driver app from Geico, or save money by being a good driver. Great. Can you get positive things when things go well? Sure. I got a 92 in Tiddlywinks. Cool, you get an extra half hour. Awesome. We can set all that up ahead of time. Does that make sense? Does that answer? Okay, cool. Okay, here we go. Oh, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Can you use the report card? Sure. Can you use interim reports? I'll ask Brookside people, do we have interim reports? Yes or no?
Only for students that have D's or F's.
Oh, how sad. Okay. Could I set up an interim report with my teacher of Tiddlywinks? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Hey, teacher of Tiddlywinks, I'm trying something with Jack. Could you just send a progress report home with Jack halfway through the quarter so we can just kind of take a look at it, okay? Thanks. Really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. See, and you can just read through these. I mean, we can go all night on this. But student, if the plan's successful, the parent directs the plan for the remainder of the quarter. If the student makes another attempt, and the plan's beginning each quarter. So we just keep going with Tiddlywinks. Stick with where they're successful so they can meet success. Okay. Real quick again, just things. If you expect them to learn in 30 seconds, no, we're not in the microwave with this, okay? Everybody got it? Okay. All right. Here we go. I'll throw a little theory in here too. When they bring home the 92 in Tiddlywinks, what do you do? Anybody? What do you do?
You praise them.
Praise them. How would you do it?
Maybe a treat.
Okay.
First of all, the words.
Sure. Thank you. Okay.
Maybe a treat or
Love them up. Yep. Okay. What if they come home with the 83?
still a hug.
Do you still love them up? Yeah. We go, oh, how sad. I guess I'm the director now. How sad. Okay. I've worked with kids, and I bet you have, all of you, where give me a goal for Tiddlywinks, so I'm going to work harder. That's hard. I have no other way to measure the word harder. I'm going to try harder. I've got no idea how to define harder. If you can, let me know. Except if I'm comparing peaches and pine wood. I can compare those two. But study habits, I can't. All right? So when, measure, if you're going to set goals up, the one that kills me is, I'm going to try harder next quarter, Dad. Okay. What are some of the long-range goals? The idea, and again, we're going to get a little bit into homework, and I've got a little pet peeve about homework too. But there's some things about homework right there as to what it can do if it's approached properly by the teacher in the classroom. Are these some things? And take a look at that list right there. And if you notice, it doesn't talk about any way that I'm going to get into Harvard. It doesn't say a darn thing about what school I'm going to. If I could develop those things in my kid, my student, my child, I think we're doing a pretty good job. Would we agree on that? Cool. Okay. So let's take a little stop right here. I'm about halfway, and I'm a little over time, and I got to be cautious of that. So let's take a little stop. Thank you for the one question, finally. Please, let's stop right now. This is a question time. Do you have any questions for me? Anything that maybe I am not making clear enough, that I'm not, that you're misunderstanding, something I could clarify a little better? We're looking puzzled. It was so kind of you to raise your hand. You're trained. That's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
How do you get the child who is unmotivated? What's the first step to motivating your child?
And again, if I had an hour, that's a different story. I've got 25 more minutes before he kicks me out of here. But part of it, can you get somebody to do something that they don't want to do?
Not very easy.
No. So don't try, because it'll just frustrate you. Part of Love and Logic, and the second half, I'll just briefly touch on it, something called enforceable statements. And we'll briefly touch on it near the end. Can I make you do your homework? What's the child's name? You can make up a name. Make up a name.
Oh, that's okay, Cassidy.
Cassie?
Yeah.
Can you make Cassie do her homework? Can you make Cassie go to sleep? Can you make Cassie eat? Can you make Cassie wear the clothes that you want her to wear? No. Okay, so do you understand this? It's like, I can't make you do something that you don't want to do. Will Cassie suffer natural consequences for not completing science homework? How sad. Do you love Cassie? Sure I do. Will you love her no matter what? Sure. Will you feed her maybe breakfast tomorrow morning? Sure. Okay? Even if she comes home with a D in science. Okay? To cover the natural, suffering the things we talked about earlier, will she learn eventually? Have I had kids, and he knows this, well, I have kids that have failed a grade because they purposely chose to not do the work. Yeah. And they suffered the consequences of that. And do we try to do that when they're in 6th grade or 8th grade? Is it a little late in 11th? It might be. Do I worry about, and I don't mind telling you, being dead honest about my son, 2 years at college were wasted because he wasn't studying, he wasn't doing the work. Guess who, I told him right from the start, Mom and Dad have got the first 2 years covered financially. After that, you're on your own. That's an enforceable statement. I will pay for year 1 and 2. Let me know how it goes. We hope to be able to pay for year 3 and 4. Guess how many years it took him? 6. Guess who paid for 5 and 6? He did. Did he understand? I blew it here. Will I pay for it here? Yes. Was that a pretty tough lesson? Yeah. But it's anything that I'm going to beat him over the head with, is it going to do any good? Because I can't make him do something he doesn't want to do. And all it's going to do is make your life miserable. Does that make sense to you? That's a short answer, but that, I think, is kind of a blanket. Tell Cassie what you're willing to do. I'm more than happy to feed you if you can at least get passing grades. You know, and that's an extreme. But that says what I'm willing to do, because are you in control of what Cassie does, or are you in control of what you do? What you do. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All righty. Ba-dum-bum. Colored card. Anybody want to share their definition of academic success? Anybody want to share it out loud? Okay.
Doing your best in graduate.
Doing your best. Anybody else?
Ability to analyze and apply, problem solver.
Problem solving.
Growth and progress.
Others. Thank you. Did you walk in here tonight looking for a way to turn your child from a C student into a B student? If you did, do you notice academic success, you're not measuring 78 to 84. It's some of this stuff. And if we can apply some of the general things that we're talking about, will they get there eventually? Yeah. I'll use my son again as the example. Did the grades in year 5 and 6, were the numbers higher? Yeah. He was responsible for it. Okay. All right, here we go. Briefly, successful person. Treats others with respect, loves their family, has the skills, builds other people up, serves others rather than demanding to be served, takes pride in doing good things. Cool, let's go a little farther. Successful students know how to delay gratification, persevere when the task becomes tedious or boring. How about maintains a positive attitude even when they make mistakes? Is your child able to do that? And the open-ended question, are you able to support them, back to my analogy, when they fall off the bike and they skin their knee? The parents that I worry about are the ones that yell at their kids for falling off the bike and telling them how stupid they are for not keeping their balance. Those are the ones I worry about. But I know you didn't do that. No parent did that when they were teaching them how to ride the bike. Okay. This is tough, but if you want to jot down just a couple of notes, hey, Jack, try this if with the teacher that's not working with you real well. Say hi to him or her when you walk in the morning. Look at them once in a while. And after 37 years in public education, I can tell you, will the kid that gets along with me a little better get the benefit of the doubt? Teachers, I know you don't have to admit that, but if you want to admit that, the ones that you kind of get along with, if they're fluctuating between that C and the B, you might give them the... Okay, we won't talk about that anymore. Okay, so it happens. If you're the pain in the butt, or are you at least pleasant to be around for 52 minutes, you'll kind of get a little different slack from the teacher. How about occasionally, hey, once a day, I got the answer, and it gets you off the hook for the other 43 minutes. I got one nod in the back. That's kind of cool. Okay. Say please and thank you once in a while. Okay. Doesn't hurt. All right.
Those are transferable skills to like a career or work setting as well, because those simple things within your colleagues or, you know, the people people that you have to interact with, it makes a difference in life in general.
And isn't that, just a ducktail on that, isn't that what we're hoping for? You want them, I mean, I go to bed every night praying for my children that they're successful, that they're self-sufficient, and that they're healthy, and not necessarily in that order. And isn't that what we want for our kids? If they can do that, we've done what we were put here to do. Okay. Here's just some open-ended things. You're already doing some of the, you're here tonight. Okay? I'm giving you kudos. Thank you for coming tonight. You took an hour out of your evening, got a cup of coffee and a free cookie, but hopefully you also got a piece of, just one little piece of information that you could take home with you and maybe share. Ask them open-ended questions. Things like, tell me, I mean, I know so many parents, how was school today? And their answer is? Good, fine. Okay, are we stuck now? Is there another follow-up? It's kind of like, okay.
Anything exciting happen?
Okay, no,
Nobody broke an arm or a leg?
no,
Was there a fight
no,
involved?
no.
Oh,
Thanks, good talk, good talk. Okay, got me? Do you see how it worked? Do you see how, boom? Let me rephrase the question. Tell me about your day.
oh, it was okay. It was a typical school day.
Tell me what happened.
I got a B in my science.
Really? Which class was that again?
Science.
Science. Awesome. Who's that teacher again? Can you remind me who the teacher is?
Miss Patel.
Who?
Mrs. Patel.
Oh, okay. You get how's things going there?
Oh, she's my favorite teacher.
Oh, awesome. Do you see how now we're engaged in a conversation? Open-ended questions versus closed-end questions. Try open-ended questions. Tell me about. It's hard for them to say fine to tell me about. Okay. Be available, those kinds of things. Do we have a special set-aside time? Do you engage in learning at the same time with them? Do you have a special set-aside time? Who's in charge of setting study time? Who's in charge of that? Sit. Okay.
Because they're old enough to do it right now.
Okay.
When they were younger, obviously, it was different. I would set the time, but not.
Right. Would it have been painful for you if they picked the study time, even when they were in 4th grade?
No, because I think I gave them the option.
Cool.
Do you want this or this? Do you want to do it before dinner or after dinner?
See, that's why you're an OU parent. You know, you've done. We're good. But those are the kind of things that we're talking about. The little things that you can give them choices and control over. Let them pick. Do they want to study from 4? Do they want to do schoolwork from 4 to 5? Do they want to do it from 4:30 to 5:30? Do they want to do it from 4 to 4:15 and take a break and come back at 4:45 to 5? Fine. Do they want to do it from 7 to 8? Fine. You choose, you choose, you choose. Okay. Just a few other things real quick. Well, I got to keep track of my time. Assisting, not doing. And I'm guessing I'm preaching to the choir. I know that. But assisting, not doing. Child should be holding a pencil, okay? Once they get close to getting it, walk away. Walk away. Let them see how it goes. Did you, back to my bike analogy, did you hold the bike all the way down the sidewalk running after them? No, you let go eventually, didn't you? Does it work with this stuff? Sure. You're going to have to let go eventually. Let's let it go where the consequences are small, where the penalties, whatever, let them experience losses. Let them experience failures when the cost is small. Okay. Some other things too. What are their natural abilities? This is hard, I know. I've been gone, I've been out of town, and to watch 4-year-olds literally, at dinner, 4 people are sitting around a dinner table, and each one of them have an electronic device in front of them. How sad. And it's a 30-year-old and a 28-year-old and a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. And they each have their own little electronic device in front of them. Please have some interaction. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but that's something that just, it's like, let's have some interaction with each other. I love this one. In more ways than one, have them charge their batteries before they do the homework. In more ways than one. Literally, the batteries on whatever they're using, but maybe they need to come home and recharge their battery a little bit. You know, let them have a snack. Let them, if they have been contained for 8 hours, let them run. If you know your kid needs to run for the next hour, let them run, so that they can come back and focus on what they still need to do. Okay. Someone brought up problem solving. Okay, this is awesome. Here we go. Real quick, this is something that, you know, we'll throw back up there. And and I know I'm real conscious of my time. I want to get into the handout in just a minute. But these are some things. Problem solving, if you start the first thing with empathy. Again, I'm back to some of my love and logic things that were part of this deal. If you start with that love and care before we even try to solve anything, you know, I think we've said, how are you going to, when you forget the trombone? Oh, how sad. Empathy. Oh, that must be tough for you. Let me know how it goes for you. What are you going to do about it? Problem solving. If you solve it for them, when will you stop solving it for them? Okay. Choices. Sometimes they may get stuck. Is it possible the kid can come to you and say, I've got no idea how to solve this? Should you tell them what to do? Yes or no? What do you think? No. Could you suggest, hey, you know what? I've heard some ideas from other kids as to this is how they, you know, this is a possibility. How about this one? Maybe that one? Let me know how it goes for you. There's some choices for you. Because if you tell them, drink Coca-Cola, and they get sick, who's going to get blamed? You are. But if you say, well, there's Coke, there's Diet Coke, there's water, there's whatever's in the Stanley thing, you decide which one you want. Let me know how it goes for you. Do you hear the choices thing? Okay. Give them permission. All right, let's take a quick look at the handout before we go totally out of time. Just real quick on this, and then I'll finish up with a couple other things here. Trying to do all this in 55 minutes is a little tough, but I wanted to give you something that you could fall back on. So that first page is a lot of the things that we've talked about tonight. The second page, guidelines for helping your child with some homework. We've talked about this a little bit. Set aside time each day for family learning. Only help when they really come and ask you about it. When in the absence, not angry or frustrated. You know, don't come at them that way. Help when your child can describe, you know, what the teacher said. I love that one. I'm sorry, who was the favorite teacher? Mrs. Mrs. Taught me how to conjugate verbs today. Oh, what did Mrs. say? If your child can't tell you that, that's going to be an issue. We need to go back to, okay, you don't remember what Mrs. said about conjugating verbs? Go back and ask her tomorrow morning. I look forward to hearing from you tomorrow. Great. Let me know. Mwah, love you. Have a nice night. Okay? Move away from the child when she gets it. Okay. Here's one of my pet peeves. I love this one. Schoolwork. Page 3, I think, 3 or 4. Think of all of you right now, except for unless you're under the age of 18 in the room. All of you have spent, every single one of you probably started your day about 7 o'clock this morning, 7, 8 o'clock this morning. I'll be kind, maybe even 6 o'clock this morning. When you get home, if you had to turn in to the significant, loving people in your life, you had to turn in what you did today to them and say, here's what I did today. Because you're getting asked, how was your day? Here's what I did today. Go down about the third paragraph. Well, it's like, how was your day? Oh, it was pretty okay. I'm on the third paragraph. Fourth paragraph. Well, no wonder you don't want to talk about it. Look at these papers. Can you do better than this? Where in your mind? Okay. How would you like somebody that you love and care about to take those 8 hours, those 10 hours that you just did, and start lambasting you about how that day went? Wouldn't that just want you to share tomorrow what it was like? Like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Let me rush home and tell you about today because you just ripped me about yesterday. I don't want to tell you anything. If you'll notice, last paragraph, first column, the problem faced by students is that they can't choose to go somewhere else after school. They can't avoid, they're still coming home. If you can greet them with a little more power, or just let them deprogram a little bit. My term too, and I learned this one a long time ago, schoolwork, and educators that are in the room. Little sidebar, little Berkeyism. Schoolwork should be 10 minutes. This is my opinion only. I've got no scientific anything to back it up, no research, but this is my opinion. Schoolwork should be 10 minutes for every grade they're in. 8th graders shouldn't spend more than 80 minutes on schoolwork a night. 4th graders shouldn't spend more than 40 minutes on schoolwork. Schoolwork. Homework, again, and I get a lot of teachers that argue with me about homework versus schoolwork. If you're an 8th grader, and I think we got a couple 8th graders here, right? Okay. If I'm spending more than 80 minutes a night outside of the classroom day, we need to look at that. Is it too much stuff? Are they bringing stuff home that they should be doing in school? Are they overwhelmed with their load? Are they misusing their time? Those are the kind of things we should be looking at. So please, 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 that's just a little Berkeyism. See if it works. Do you have any idea? Do they spend more than 80 minutes a night on schoolwork? Do they spend more than 80 minutes a night? Okay, so far we're good with that. And I know teachers that will give students 15 minutes. Hey, get started on your schoolwork. How do they use that 15 minutes in classroom? Do they use it screwing around with their friends, or do they actually sit down and do the work? So is that why they're bringing more homework home? Okay. We talked briefly, I'm turning the page again, we talked briefly about enforceable statements. Here's just another page on how that can work. Again, some examples. Second column, I'll listen as soon as your voice is calm. That's in my control. I'll take you guys to places you want to go in the car when I don't have to worry about fighting in the back seat. I'll provide TV, you can see how old this is, and Nintendo, when the chores are done, when the homework is done. All kinds of pieces to that. And we talked a little bit about solving the problem. So this, again, is just a little bit of a reference, if that's of help to you. So, with the time that I've left, we talked a little bit, and I had a whole section, and I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. I really appreciate though it's been a little, your interaction with me. I feel there's an important piece to chores at home. That if a child can do a chore, that's teaching them those responsibility things that they can apply to a classroom. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. I won't go through all this, but I didn't know how quick we'd get through things, and I appreciate your feedback. But this, again, the back, I think the last piece of the package is some simple chores. If you can get a child to commit to 1 or 2 chores in the house, then that will then apply itself to being in the classroom too. So here we go. We got final piece with love and logic. Give them, this is just one little final love and logic thing. If you give them a task that you feel they can handle, I know this sounds crazy, number 2, hope they blow it. I know it sounds silly to take this all full circle that we were 59 minutes ago. I know when you let go of the bike, you didn't hope that they fell off, but you were okay when they did because you knew they were learning, turn left, turn right, how do I have to balance? You want them to make the mistakes because they will learn from them, and give them that same task over again. So, with all that in mind, I think I hit my time. I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but how am I going to do this with 3 people? This is going to be, I brought you for attending. I was going to have a raffle, but I don't really need to have a raffle with 3 of you. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. Let's see. Do I have any suggestions? You sure? This is a book written by one of the originators of Love and Logic. It's called From Bad Grades to a Great Life. And it's actually, I know some of you, this is called a book. This is a book. Oh, you've seen them. Have you guys seen the? Oh, that's right. There is a whole library full of these. This is awesome. So this is my present from me to you. So thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. I am more than willing to stay. I would be curious. The last thing before I go, how did you rank on the white cards? What was your number 1? What was your number 1? Parent-child relationship. What was your number 1?
Parent-child.
I don't think anybody. How did you rank grades? 5? 4 or 5? Yay. If you take nothing else away from this, keep the relationship with the child. That's so much more important. So, yeah, I can stay if you got any questions for me. I really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you very, very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.